guys, what's up? It's Shelby and welcome back to my channel. So today is another Mystery Monday video. So today I'm going to be talking about the murder of Nathan Haun, I think is how you say his last name. So let's just go ahead and get right into this case. In this video, I'm going to be referring to him as Nate because that is pretty much what everybody called him, and that is what I seen in all the research that I found. Everybody called him Nate. He was 17 at the time that he was murdered. He was a pretty typical teenager. He was very family oriented. He loved his family and he had quite a bit of friends. He was said to have been very happy and spunky, and he was definitely a comedian. He loved to make people laugh and he always had people laughing. He was also said to have been very opinionated and definitely would give, his opinion and back it up and stick by his opinion, which made for some very interesting conversations with people. His one passion in life, though, was art. He had been drawing art his whole life and he absolutely loved it. He would draw daily sketches in his art book, to kind of create a portfolio to get into an art school for college, like a school of art, but sadly that would never happen because his life was taken too soon. He lived in Utah. I'm pretty sure he lived in, Spanish Fork, Utah, I'm pretty sure. On July 12th, 2013, his friend picked him up to go out. He probably didn't tell his parents where exactly he was going to go with his friend, but they did end up going to two different parties that night. Nathan did not drive. He did not have his license or a car, so he relied on his family and friends to either pick him up or he would just simply walk places. So like I said, Nate's friend picked him up from his house, and that's when they went to the first party. They stayed at this party, drank, had a good time until about 12 o'clock, 1 a.m., when the party kind of fizzled out and everybody started leaving, which is when him and a couple of friends also left in the same car. They drove to a different county or city and went to the second party. Now this party was a little bit different than the first. Nate had actually gotten into an altercation with one or more people at this party over a girl that they all had allegedly, liked or had an interest in, and this upset Nate so much that he went outside and locked himself in a car. Like I said, he didn't own a car. He was so mad that he locked himself in somebody else's car and refused to get out. So eventually he got out and he just started walking home from this party. He decided that was the best thing to do. Nobody really tried to stop him or anything, and like I said, it wasn't unusual for him to walk because he didn't have a car, so he pretty much walked anywhere anyways. And Nate never returned that next day at all. The next day, on July 13th, a woman was driving home on a county highway area. It was more of a rural highway, though. There wasn't a lot of traffic on this highway, and it was about 5 a.m., and she was driving when she saw a body in the road, which turned out to be Nate's body. She called authorities right away, and they came right down to the scene to check it out, and it was odd. Nate's body was in awful condition. I mean, it was obvious that he sustained a lot of trauma, and the way that his body was, it looked like it was just a hit and run, but there was no signs on the road of a hit and run. There was no skid marks, there was no car parts, there was no debris. It was just Nate in the road. Usually in a hit and run, especially to the damage of Nate's body, there would have been car parts around his body. Seeing the damage done to Nate's body, there is no way that somebody didn't know that they hit him. So again, if you hit something on the road, even if you don't see it, you are more than likely going to slow down to see what you hit, check out your car, make sure everything is good. There was no skid marks or signs that somebody slowed down to do anything. And like I said, there was no car parts or debris of anything. It was just Nate's body. And the woman that I mentioned that found his body said she was driving down this highway at 2 a.m. and Nate wasn't there at 2 a.m. So that gave police somewhat of a time frame of when Nate had actually passed away. About 100 feet away from Nate's body, they did actually find some objects in the road, and they found a car part that had blood on it, which was immediately sent in for forensics to kind of figure out. Some people believe that the person who did this picked up all of the debris and moved it so that it wouldn't be like tied to him, or stuff like that, or it just could have been really windy and pushed all of this stuff down the road a couple hundred feet. So they sent Nate in for an autopsy, and the cause of death was that he was struck by a vehicle. With everything that the police had, they figured their next step would be to get surveillance videos of this area to see if they could see Nate, to see if they could see anybody, to see if they could see any cars going by, and so they did. They got a surveillance video, but it didn't quite show as far as where Nate's body was found, but it did show the highway that Nate was found on, and it was in a relatively close area to where Nate's body was found. In the surveillance video, they saw 2 different cars drive by, and one of the cars drove by just right before the woman that found Nate's body drove by, which means that either they were the person who did it that hit Nate, because it was so close. There's no way that they didn't see Nate's body laying in the road. So they either really truly didn't see them, or they were the person who hit him. The police went to go figure out what had happened that night, and they tried to talk to the 3 friends that he was mainly with, but they refused to say anything. Either they refused or their parents refused, which was really odd and put kind of a big stump in this case for police and investigators. A lot of people think it's just because they were at parties, there was underage drinking, there might have been drugs involved, but the fact that their parents even wouldn't let them speak to the police shows something kind of odd. Only one of Nate's friends would say what happened that night, and that is when he told the police that, he got into this altercation, got in the car for a while, and then walked out. As great as it was for police, it wasn't enough to really put together what actually, happened, or who it was, or anything like that. They had one person a while later, after this case pretty much went cold. A while later, somebody called in and said that they knew what happened to Nate, but the police said that it wasn't credible. They just didn't give any details that really helped this case at all, that the police didn't already know, so it pretty much just fell through. The police found out that the car that hit Nate was more than likely a 1995 Dodge truck that had a push bar, or like a brush guard, on the front of their truck. But they also said that it could be anywhere from a 1994 to a 2004. A whole bunch of leads came in, but none of them really followed through. They all just kind of went cold, and so did this case. His family never really got closure on who did this to their son, to their family member, anything. It pretty much just went cold. They didn't have any more evidence to convict anybody of his murder. Whether it was an accident or a murder. I mean, it was late at night and it was dark out, and they could have hit him on accident, but it really didn't look like that this was an accident. Just the way everything, there was no skid marks, there was no debris around him. It looked like somebody seriously saw him, like revved up and just hit him and kept going and did not care, pretty much. There was also evidence that Nate had actually turned around to look at the car that was coming, which kind of leads me to believe that they really did like rev up and speed up, because like if you hear a car coming, yeah, you're gonna turn around, but also the fact that he didn't have time to move. Like, if he turned around and you see a car coming, you're not just gonna stand there. But if a car is coming at you super fast and you turn around and all of a sudden it hits you, you know what I mean? They obviously did not try to swerve him. They didn't try. They literally just hit him and kept going, and that is so awful. And of course, there was a lot of rumors around town about everything that happened, because you have a whole bunch of teenagers at this party, this altercation about this girl, and then a 17-year-old boy ends up dying, and you know, the whole town starts speculating people and making rumors about everything and what happened. But again, none of them are really credible. They're good theories and stuff like that, but nobody has ever been convicted of Nate's murder. And I definitely think somebody at that party knows what happened and may have done it. It definitely was a rage kill. I mean, to just hit and run somebody and not even care, that's just awful and definitely screams rage. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you guys want to see next down below. Don't forget to follow my social medias. They're all linked down below as well. I post on Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30 Central Time. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!